What do you think the biggest mistakes that people make with their estates that cause more pain on the back end? Like, what would you say, maybe two or three, like biggest mistakes they make?
Well, of course, the biggest mistake is not making a plan, but let's just assume we do make one. And that's the biggest mistake. People think, they're, don't want to think about death. They don't want to think about, don't want to make those decisions, think that they have another day to do it. And, and sometimes it can be too late. I think that once you do make an estate plan, though, I think it's important to make sure that everything, some of your other assets that might pass by beneficiary designation or transfer on death or IRAs, those kind of things, investment accounts, make sure that those are lined up the way your estate plan is. So because those beneficiary designations are going to trump anything that you have in your estate plan. So we want to make sure that everything's lined up properly and not updating when they've changed their minds, trying to do an update by just writing it in the will, which is ineffective.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing I see sometimes.
Yeah, we were just talking off camera. I'm about to have my baby daughter tomorrow, so I'm going to have to update my will and my estate plan because a few years ago when we did this, we weren't expecting to have any more kids, and now here we are. So I've got to update mine.
Right, exactly. Well, that's that's another one, right? Not updating when we have like changes in our lives. I mean, hopefully the plan that you have anticipates that you might have additional children, and but it's always a good idea to go in and make sure of that. Make sure that you're not leaving anybody out, and that any changes in your life are reflected, and it doesn't make you want to change anything in your plan.
Definitely, for sure. And for people that are coming to work with you, estates that are coming to work with you, what kind of tips do you have for them to help that process go smoother to work with you, to make that as most efficient as possible?
Well, I always ask people before they meet with me to be thinking about some things, and to be thinking about, one, what do they want to happen with their assets when they pass away? Who do they want to carry out their wishes? Who do they want to be that person to execute their estate plan? Who is the person who they might want to handle their financial affairs if they're not able to? Those are things that you just need to think about and plan for. And it's a good idea to have to know what that is, to make those decisions before, not necessarily before you meet with me, but be thinking about those. And I can always guide people to assist them in making that decision by explaining what the job entails, and they can select the person that they know would do the best job.
Sure. Yeah, because they might think, oh, yeah, Cousin Johnny's a little bit of a crazy guy. He's probably not the best one to
be. Right. Or somebody might say, well, I don't, they want to go in birth order of their children or their adult children. And sometimes that's not necessarily the case. You want to select the person who's going to get the job done and is willing to do it as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, or if you have children and you've got to pass, someone has to be a guardian of your kids, like who do you think would be the best parent to your kids, right?
Right. Exactly. That's another decision that young parents have to make too. Yeah.
Sure. Definitely.